listen.
You know, starting at 11 o'clock this morning in Annapolis, there's going to be a rally. It's going to go to about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a rally of people who are opposed to Martin O'Malley's gun legislation. The gun legislation making its way through the Maryland House and Senate as we speak. One of the people in Maryland, in Annapolis, who is fighting this legislation is Delegate Mike Smigiel, delegate to the American House of Delegates, representing District 36, which is Caroline, Cecil, Kent, and Queen Anne's County. He's on the phone line now to talk about where this is because, Delegate Smigiel, I appreciate you joining because, you know, watching what's going on over there, we already have some of the most restrictive gun laws in the nation in the free state of Maryland. Now Martin O'Malley wants to make them even stricter. But as I watch this process, it's sort of difficult for me and I think a lot of people to follow out exactly where we are in the process right now. So bring us up to date, first of all.
Okay, currently where we're at is the bill has gone through the Senate, and it will be coming over to the House. Most likely they will not start all over and put the original unamended bill into the House. They will take the Senate bill, and that's the bill that will probably come before the Judiciary Committee, which I sit on.
All right, now what concerns you about the Senate bill as it stands now?
Well, there's two concerns. One, what it lacks to have in it. It lacks any kind of effort to try to treat criminals by taking care of those bad guys with guns. We have, and I asked at the hearing we just had on Friday, why it is that there's no effort to try to take the people who are using firearms in the commission of crimes and keeping them in jail, taking away their good time credits, doing as New York has done, and actually punishing the people who use the guns in a way that commits a felony or a robbery and putting them away and keeping them away. They had a significant drop in their crime rate once they had done this in New York as opposed to Chicago, who allows the plea bargain to get rid of the gun crime, and then they're recidivists and they come back and commit crimes again. That would be the first place to start, is to punish those who are misusing. All of the legislation seems to be aimed at law-abiding citizens and to put restrictions on them and fees on them, and does absolutely nothing to try to address it.
Second part is, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, please continue.
Second part that's missing is anything to do with mental health that really addresses the mental health problem. There's no effort to put any money in there to take away the stigma from people seeking mental health, to educate them that it's okay to go and get mental health services. And what they've actually done is make an attempt at those who voluntarily seek mental health services. In the original bill, it says if you go and you're there over 30 days voluntarily, now you will be prohibited from being able to hold a firearm. So some young lady who goes in because she has anorexia or she's a battered woman and she goes in and she gets help, when she gets out, she's prohibited from being able to get a firearm. So instead of getting people to come in and get the mental health services they need and to address that, there's this inhibitor in there that tells you you don't want to go get it. It'll be a chilling effect. And so there's no money for the local community-based services that are supposed to be there, so the people who we've dumped out of the facilities into the streets and left them as victims, we did not do anything to address that. So there's the main things that should be in the bill are not there, and then you have a lot of things that make no sense. The people who know nothing about firearms wrote legislation that deals with the aesthetics of the firearm, and so if you have something that just looks bad to you, then you say, well, that makes that an automatic, assault weapon. And they keep referring to automatic. Well, there are no automatic firearms. There are semi-automatic firearms. These are modern sporting rifles, but there's no reason that if you have a threaded front to put a flash suppressor on so that you're firing this firearm, that it should be prohibited. This legislation goes so far that even Olympians who shoot with Olympic firearms to practice to go into the sport will be prohibited in Maryland from being able to bring those firearms into Maryland, right. And there'll be nobody even allowed to practice.
Well, but Delegate Smigiel, and I appreciate you joining us, and you're fighting the good fight there in Annapolis on behalf of your district, but I got to be honest, from watching this thing transpire and watching it go through all the committee hearings and the governor, coming down to testify, it just seems like a fait accompli. I mean, we've got a rally today, and I know a lot of Second Amendment proponents are going to be down there, and they're going to be fighting the good fight as well, but is there any hope to actually make a difference at this point?
Absolutely. We had the largest rally in Maryland's history, the last time that we had the people come out, a little over 4,000 people, and we just had the longest hearing that we've ever had, went almost 16 hours, 15 and three-quarter hours on Friday. And so we're back in for another day of gun hearings, and we'll have a rally today. But what we were able to do is we were able to make significant progress with a lot of the various groups that traditionally would be in favor of just signing on yesterday. They kept me after session talking about the African American community is very concerned about having to fingerprint in order to go and buy a firearm. They don't like the idea.
You got to fingerprint and get a permit, right?
Yes. And so where would you, this is a right. What other right would we require somebody to go get fingerprinted and pay to exercise? If you wanted to go to your church, or you wanted to gather with friends, or you wanted to have free speech, we're not going to require the reporters to all come in, put their fingerprint down, and to pay so that they can write their stories. These are rights. These are not things that you should be requiring. And the Supreme Court has said you cannot require this fee in order to exercise.
But
right.
let's be honest about it. I mean, the Democrats are in control. There doesn't seem to be enough momentum here to stop Governor O'Malley. The things that he is proposing, many people look at and say would not have changed what happened in Newtown one iota, and yet they are going to become law. The strictest gun laws in the nation are about to become more strict.
I think we're going to be able to make some significant changes with amendments, both in the Judiciary Committee and on the floor of the House of Delegates. I'm seeing that a lot of people who are coming up to me who normally you would not see saying, wait a minute, this is going to be a problem. These hearings were very significant, where we had 1,300 people come forward and say we're against it, and 32 showed up and said we're for it.
So you're seeing some cracks in the wall there then. All right, well, listen, this is you can make a difference, folks. Get out there. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the big gun rally in Annapolis. Let the people there in the Capitol building hear you, Maryland. One last question, Delegate Smigiel. It's got to be really short. Are you hearing from some of the opposition or people on the other side of the aisle there, people actually using Newtown as, in a very political way and trying to use that as an example as to why the Second Amendment needs to be more infringed? Are they still trying to do that tactic?
Absolutely shameless how we use the blood of children to further a political purpose so that Martin O'Malley can someday be president. It's absolutely shameless.
All right, Delegate Mike Smigiel, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you joining us here on WMAL.